Okay, go ahead.
All right, we are on. Hi, everyone. My name is Denise. I am a freedom activist in the state of California, and I am one of the founders of Freedom Angels.
Hello, my name is Heidi, and I'm also a co-founder of Freedom Angels, and I live in the San Francisco Bay Area.
I am Tara of the Freedom Angels in Northern Sierra Nevada mountains of California.
So every day we come to you live at 5. Usually it's from different pages because of censorship, but we go live at 5 discussing freedom and liberty in the state of California as well as the nation. And to start off, we're going to recap a little bit on what we did yesterday and what you guys accomplished yesterday in the state of California. The pushback that we experienced was amazing in Operation Gridlock, California. We had people with boots on the ground and in convoys. Rough estimate was about 2,500 to 3,000 people showed up at the California Capitol to reopen the state as of May 1st. So it was beautiful, ladies.
That's right.
It was a beautiful event. The energy was there. People are done. It wasn't a movement. It was people. It was Californians saying, we're not doing this anymore, Newsom. It's time to lift the stay. We got to get back to work. We cannot afford to do this anymore, and our families need to eat. So what was your guys' take on yesterday?
Yeah.
I loved it. It was amazing.
Well,
it was a huge 4th of July party is what everybody said.
Yes.
Because as you know, if we don't stand up, guys, there's not going to be a 4th of July. It's gone forever. So again, I want to say when people talk about the 4th of July, that's Democrats, that's Republicans, that's independents, that's Green, that's everybody. The 4th of July is celebrated by everybody. It's nonpartisan. And that is what yesterday was. So that's what I wanted to say.
It was absolutely beautiful. Tara,
Absolutely.
how do you feel about that yesterday?
Just like you guys. It was incredible to see, what the people of California, state of the nation, people are spontaneously rising up and saying they're done, and I saw, a sign May 1 and done. That is what everyone's saying. We have, complied altruistically with goodwill. We've waited to see what is going on, what's the data, what's the stats, what's the situation on the ground. And basically at this point, everyone's saying none of this is adding up enough to have this type of an extended lockdown where you're basically taking away everyone's liberties and their ability to, to provide for their families and have a livelihood.
And remember,
it's like they chanted it in Ohio weeks ago. It's like, no paycheck for us, no paycheck for you.
Exactly. And remember, California has an indefinite stay versus
has been taken away.
Tara, your connections are really bad.
Grounds? Mine is?
Yeah. But, California has an indefinite stay. We do not have a date. Governor Newsom keeps holding it over our head like dangling the carrot. If you guys behave, if we flatten this curve, we'll lift it. But the curve is already flattened. The model that they used was incorrect. And we saw that on the, there was some video coming on the press conference from the White House that you guys should be looking at. But, what Tara was talking about, the California Capitol is a taxpayer-funded building. All of those people in that building are funded by taxpayers. So if taxpayers cannot get their money anymore because Newsom has put in an indefinite stay, I don't think those legislators and all of those people in those buildings should be getting paid either. I mean, why do we need to ask them for permission to go on our Capitol steps and protest and petition the government? That's tyranny.
And what work are they doing anyway? Right now, it's all in the hands of the appointed public health officers, right?
Yes.
I mean,
they shouldn't even be doing work without us being able to go there.
Oh, without stakeholder involvement, without the voice of the people. I mean, that's why you have elected representatives, because they're supposed to be there to be the voice of the people as a checks and balance against tyranny. And under emergency orders, all of that is suspended. Honestly, it functions really poorly at best at times, but under this times, it's completely non-existent. And then, as we know, in each county, the county public health officer is being tasked with the management and the enforcement and the implementation of the governor's executive orders. And he did say yesterday as well, the governor said yesterday that each county has to follow at base level the state executive order position, but but they can't step away, what he's saying, and defy his executive orders, though they can go and get more strict if they want.
Yep,
as we've seen, right, in the Bay Area, Heidi, and which,
yes.
Again, you know who elects your local county, who appoints the county public health officer is the Board of Supervisors or the Board of County Commissioners. So those, again, are like the elected people that need to feel the pressure of this, because they are the ones who've appointed the people who are holding over us, and in some cases even going further on their executive orders and emergency powers. And as we should discuss, well, we should talk a little bit more about the Capitol too, because yesterday was pretty incredible. Thousands of people drove from around the state and showed up. I mean, from every end of the state, people were driving for, you know how it is. If you don't know, if you're not in California, it's 9+ hours from some locations to get to Sacramento. And families drove up with kids. The estimates from every source that we have, from those of us on the ground, from law enforcement, from media, was like 1,000 to 2,000 cars, right? And then most of those cars had multiple people in them. Very few were just one person. And then about 1,000 people on the grounds of the Capitol.
Yes, it was
amazing. On the permitted event.
Yes, that was the best part about the permit. Yeah, so we've been around the block before. This is not our first rodeo, as we keep saying. We are well known at the Capitol, and we did our due diligence just like we do for every single event that we hold, and we submitted a permit in advance, and lo and behold, it got approved on Friday. And so then we got to announce to everybody that we were working with law enforcement. Well, we'd already announced that, and that, we had a permit. So there was nothing, this was a safe, peaceful assembly exercising our First Amendment rights to peaceably assemble. That was the biggest point of what we were doing.
And let's just clear this up. Governor Newsom went on a, I don't know if it was a live, but he went on with a news reporter saying press conference. Yeah, saying that the permit stated that we were going to stay in our cars and we were going to drive around the Capitol, and we violated that basically. But anybody who's ever gotten a permit or even knows the basics of how to do events knows you do not need a permit to stay in your car and drive around. Newsom knows exactly what we were doing because we weren't quiet about it. On our flyer, we said, boots on the ground, west side of the Capitol, get outside your cars. We also said, also a convoy, whichever one you feel most comfortable with, you're welcome to do. So Newsom's just trying to cover his butt. He knows exactly what this permit meant. And he knew that it meant we were going to get out of our cars and we were going to protest the way that we are allowed to protest as Americans and as humans. So I want to clear that little point up real quick.
Yeah, you don't apply for permits with the Capitol ground, the CHP on the Capitol grounds for a road event. But that is, that is handled by the Sacramento Police Department, who we also dealt with. Yes. So it has they're completely unrelated to each other, as everybody knows. So I don't know why he was spinning it that way, but yes, there is, we do have a First Amendment right to assemble. And that's when we should talk about AG Barr and also to President Trump and to, law enforcement agencies all around the counties, or every county in every state. What we're calling out is for you to support us as we stand against these unlawful executive orders. I mean, we all know this. There will be constitutional challenges against this. This goes far outside the state's compelling interest and a narrow application. This is way beyond that. We've gone into, way outside the going to have countless constitutional challenges against them at every level. Every state, every county is going to, and in many different ways. And so we need, everyone who understands that to be putting pressure on the governors and the county public health officers and state public health officers who are pushing to extend these unlawful emergency powers.
Yeah, executive
On the
orders.
grounds of, like, go ahead.
I was just going to say, yes, executive orders and public health orders, they are not law. And so the person that's breaking the law is our governor or anybody who unlawfully detains citizens, the people. Like that's who's breaking the law. The narrative has been flipped so much so. The Constitution has been so watered down. It's not taught in the schools anymore. So that now we're at critical mass, where I saw some article that came out today, and it said something like 22% agree with protesting and 80% don't. No, not 80%, 60% don't. And then there was like, well, that's not even 100%. So what are the other 20 people? Like, it just goes to show you that the media puts such a crazy spin on this. And because the Constitution has not been taught in American schools for so long, the general public doesn't even know what the laws are or what their natural born God-given rights are and how to exercise them.
And
well,
speaking
and
of, I want you,
these,
Heidi, can you talk about what that video was that you saw from Idaho today, since we're on that?
Okay. Yeah. So today, guys, we were talking about California, but the breaking news right before we came on, guys, Idaho today, just hours ago, Meridian, Idaho. This is as conservative town can get. And there were mothers and children together today out in a park. And there were lots of them. The video, we'll post a video so you can see it. There were many mothers and many children out playing in the park. And a Meridian police officer came and arrested a mother today. This is where we have come as a nation, that we are now arresting mothers who are playing in a park together with their children. Yesterday after the Capitol, I went to dinner with a friend and her kids, and we sat down in a public space and we had a meal together, and we were like, oh my gosh, we're doing one of the most revolutionary acts right now in America by sitting down and having a meal together. Like, this is the insanity of where we are. You can't do that. There's no place to go to the bathroom. And we're arresting mothers in Meridian, Idaho for their children being at the park. And let me tell you guys, that arrest, the police officers were not patrolling that park. Oh no, somebody saw that and somebody called that in. This is where we are now, that people are snitching on each other and calling in to arrest mothers with children present. Yeah. Go ahead, Tara, take it away, because profanity is about ready to come out of my mouth. So.
And some of the people who are filming and around were saying over and over, like, what is this? Like, who was Stasi, referring to Nazi Germany, and like, who does this in this state of America? You don't do that kind of thing. So, I mean, that really is, there's that meme that goes around, like, if you are snitching on people now like this, then, you would have been snitching on Anne Frank or Harriet Tubman, and shame on you, especially knowing what this isn't week one where everyone was uncertain of what was going on. We now have countless studies and reports from doctors and nurses and data showing how the actual numbers and how this should be handled, like how it can be handled therapeutically and how everyone can still go back to work. But that's, goes to show, like, in Idaho, I mean, I can't even, like, I just want to go off on, like, what they did in Idaho. I mean, again, it came to, God bless these mothers for standing up and saying, no, we are done. We will not stand for this anymore. And we're going to challenge you, and we're going to keep challenging you. Mind you, some of these things, these challenges, these will go to the Supreme Court. We don't know which ones. The strongest and best ones will, but there is going to be countless constitutional challenges, just like, starting just like on acts of what this happened today for this mom in Idaho.
These officers, they
and this
really,
is why we all gotta support.
They really
We
need
got to
to make
support this
sure
stuff.
that they are on the right side of history. They really need to make sure these sheriffs and these local PDs that they are actually protecting the Constitution, because the mothers, and I'm going to say the mothers, the fathers are absolutely involved. We saw great involvement yesterday with fathers coming out. But right now what we're seeing, the mothers are challenging this. And we will get together and we will bring each other together to start challenging. So you police officers watching this, because I know they do, make sure what you're doing is just, and make sure what you're doing is based on the Constitution, because these mothers will sue you out of house and home. We don't want to have to do that, because I know a lot of these officers, they're just following orders. You know, they say, I'm just doing my job. But at what point are they going to say, I can no longer just do my job? I have to do the right thing. I have to protect these people from the tyrants that are giving us these orders to come and arrest a mother who was with her children at a park. What happened to her children? Did those officers go back and check up on those kids? No. So now we're not only looking at these officers arresting the mom, but now we're looking at possibly the state getting involved, because this is what they do. The state loves to bring in Child Protective Services, DCSF. This is where the ground zero is when it comes to the removal of family units across the nation. It's Child Protective Services, and we all know how sometimes, it's not the best entity to put your children in. So, they're gonna have a lot of legal challenges, and I hope that mother fights back. I hope she gets a real good constitutional attorney and fights back on those police officers.
I'm pretty certain
she will. And you heard him.
She will. Go ahead, Tara.
Yeah. And when you heard people were asking the police there just what you said, why aren't you upholding the Constitution? At what point are you going to step away from this and be on the other side of history and say no? And and they're like, we're following the law. This is constitutional, was their answer, because that's what they're saying. We know it's not. I know it's under executive orders, but again, this is where it's like, we're going to challenge you. You have overstepped the usage of emergency orders, and they really have on so many grounds. And it's really in these counties, it's going to be so important, the pushback on the county health officer, because they're the ones with the PD, the law enforcement that are tasked with managing it. And we know in California, Newsom has 6 steps to get back to work. We have to challenge him on every one of them. We've discussed them before, but no, your 6 steps to get back to work are not acceptable. We do not accept those terms. Those are unconstitutional, and we won't follow them.
Absolutely. And so can we go back a little bit to talk about what else happened at the very end of our protest yesterday, guys? We caught mainstream media red-handed lying, feeding all the fake news bull, what, oh my, profanities right now. But the mainstream media, they're actors, guys. We saw it full well. I didn't even realize when they go out live on location, they had teleprompters. Are you kidding me? I thought the point of going out live was to do like impromptu, like get the beat of what is going on. No, first of all, they're reading straight off a teleprompter that's right in the camera lens. I'm blown away by that. Second of all, the reporter has their mask on because, they have to practice all these proper orders of the social distancing and the wearing of the mask and all these public health orders. Yet we saw the camera person, not wearing any protective gear whatsoever. And they got called out on it. I am so glad that there were advocates there. Happened to be, it was all organic. I mean, it's like, gosh, if we could have planned this, we really could have blown it up even bigger. But it was one mom, guys. This is who caught them. One mom saw it and said, guys, we need to get over here. We need to start filming this, and we need to start blowing a whistle on this right now. So I'm so thankful to that one mom who then got Jeremy Oliver over from the news, the alternative news, and he did a YouTube clip right then and there of all of it. Tara, you were there. Continue. What else did you see?
Well, we didn't even catch the best parts. I mean, I think the key thing to this, and this is kind of a call out. So, to everyone who can hear this, to spread the word, to do this anywhere you gather and see media. And, you know, media, we're putting you on notice here because what you're doing is complete bullshit. You are selling fear, and it is bullshit, and it is criminal. And what we saw, let us give you an example. So the event the day had ended, most people were gone. It was literally just a few stragglers around, and we were still there. Handful of us were still there, and we see a media crew that has been there, mind you. The reporter and camera woman were sitting in a car together without masks for like an hour. Okay, they're sitting in a car together without masks. They get out. The cameraman woman has no mask on and sets up the reporter. She puts her mask on, and she keeps like talking and trying to move it because, you know, it's hard to talk with the mask as it's moving. And she asked the people behind, which Heidi was one of them, and then one of our friend Lauren and some others were behind them. You can see them in the shot. And she asked them to keep stepping back. They were already 12 feet away or something. And she asked them to step way back, like 30 feet or something, because to maintain social distancing. And that the camera made it look up closer. So she wanted them really far back. So they go on to do their interview. And she's shaming us she's saying people are here and they were not social distancing and they were putting people at risk. And she's saying all this. And then it ends and everyone puts down their camera. And this is the part we didn't catch on film. They go over, she's standing a foot away. Her face is like this close to her camera woman's, and she has her mask off, and they're just talking to each other. And then they get back in the car and drive off. And then a second incident, 15 minutes later, a group of us were standing there, and Carol was there and had been interviewed earlier by these other reporters who were all wearing masks, including their camera person. And they were being very nice and kind as they were doing the interview. And then they were done. Well, as we're standing there alone, all of a sudden, two of them walk past us, right past us, you know, like brush right past us a foot away. And they're shoulder to shoulder. They're walking shoulder to shoulder, and neither of them without a mask. And Carol recognizes them and says, "Hey, how come you're not wearing your masks now, like when you interviewed us?" And they turned around, and they were rude from the first turn and look. And they just said, what are you talking about? And we said, "You're not wearing your masks now." And one woman turns and says to us, "Well, I know where she's been." Like we have cooties and they don't. And they can walk without masks next to each other, you know, non-related, don't live together, without their masks, shoulder to shoulder, and walk right by us. But put your mask on the media and shame every one of us. That is bullshit. That's selling fear, and they're complicit in this.
What station was it? Do you know?
One guy. I don't know the two who walked by. Let's ask Carol. The first one was ABC.
ABC 10 was the first one.
Yeah, and then we'll ask Carol. And but I will tell you, you know, this is where we got to hold the light of truth on them. Is people should have your cameras out, just like people are trying to film like hospitals that aren't full. Go and film what these reporters are doing. They're putting their masks on and shaming anyone who might be gathering, and then they're not following it either.
Well, this is where I say we're no longer going to be doing interviews with the media. I mean, immediately when we got there yesterday, we had an alternative media, or I don't even know, who was he from, Heidi? Do you remember the first guy who tried to interview you?
Oh, iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio came up to interview and immediately tried to spin this into something that it absolutely was not. So This is it. And I encourage everybody who does protest or who, goes to them, any of it, stop talking to the media. All they're going to do is they're going to take sound bites from whatever statements that you make, and they're going to put them together to spin it. We need to start boycotting the media, and that means stop talking to them. If they want to interview people, we'll have a press release, and that's about it. But we need to stop talking to them, because all they're going to do is demonize what we're doing, spin it into something how they normally do it, and they're fake news. We have to stop supporting fake news, and by stop supporting it, it means stop giving them the interviews.
and I'm going to call, I'm not going to say by name yet because I'll let somebody else say that by name if they want to. But there was a reporter who did a horrific, scathing article of us that we have a relationship and we've spent a lot of time with them. And once we saw the article come out, we called that person out privately.
What's his name? Alexia? What's his name?
Well, hold on. Let's let the person.
Alexia.
Do we want to let Stephanie? I don't want to steal Stephanie's thunder. So anyways, all this to say, I want Stephanie to be able to bring it. But the point that I wanted to say was that this person claimed they risked their health to come out to get the story. So
and treated us and presented it fairly. And as we were talking to him, we were like, no, you're gonna, don't skew this. His questions were leading. He totally skewed it. You know, they want to present a certain story that isn't true.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So stop talking to them.
Yeah, but
yeah,
anyhow, mainstream media, they're selling fear. They're selling fear, and they should be, you know, it's literally criminal to put your mask on, shame other people, make everyone afraid of other people, and then behind the camera, when the camera's off, you have yours off, you're breaking the same damn thing that you're shaming and telling that people should be criminalized for.
Yeah, those masks are props. Everybody needs to make that trending. Masks are props. And this mainstream media is using masks for props because that's what they are. They're actors.
Selling fear, to sell fear, props to sell fear.
That then causes, this is how bad it is, that then causes somebody to call a police officer in Meridian, Idaho to arrest a mother today. That is what mainstream media has done as well. Crimes against humanity to them as well.
Yeah, it's like the 1-800 I am a Nazi phone number to like report your neighbors for being not social distancing to your, you know, standards or beliefs.
I'm seeing that. I'm in Stockton, and I saw this post. It was on a Stockton Crimes page. They have pictures of a business that is open. It's a furniture store saying, order it, we'll bring it out to you. They are reporting this to the police. They're putting this on a crime page. Go and boycott them and call the police on them for a company that is trying to keep their employees from going into the welfare line. That is what we're going to end up seeing, families like Venezuela lining up in front of grocery stores, unable to pay for food. So now you're going to have food bags handed to you. This is what you get. Can't even look at it first. That's what you're going to eat. We see it. We've been seeing it a lot, but we're seeing the food lines for the pantries, cars lined up for miles because they can't feed their children. We are doing this for, 0.01% of death rate. And
it's so insignificant. We've had 1,000 deaths in a state of 40 million.
And not only that, but it's faulty. The stuff that we're having is faulty. The federal government has already said those CDC testing for the coronavirus, or we shouldn't even say that, we'll get flagged, for a virus failed. It was contaminated. The CDC was contaminated. So when are we going to start talking about the real facts instead of calling the police on your neighbor for having their children getting some sunshine? Sunshine is extremely important for children, for humans to have in order to have a healthy immune system. And now you're having these families scared to go outside because they're afraid that they're going to get arrested. This is an old-fashioned showdown at this point. We're not going to falter. This is going to piss more people off than anything. Instead of making people more scared to stay inside their house, now you're going to have people challenging more because this is A, unconstitutional, and B, it's just bullshit. You should not be scared to be at a park.
Oh, it's a total lie.
Well, and everyone's at the breaking point. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're at the breaking point. People cannot sustain any longer. I mean, yes, the emotional and the mental health issues are huge, but the financial as well. The financial, literally breaking the back of this country, our economic strength, our ability to provide for our families. I mean, 22 million people on unemployment right now that want to be working, that are going to be hopefully having a job when they come back to. All these small businesses that are being crushed. Instead of calling 1-800 I'm a Nazi on those businesses, we need to be supporting every single one of them. We need to be going and patronizing them. We need to be standing with them. We need to be sitting in front of their doors if the local police or the local health officers want to cite them or arrest them. We need to be sitting in front of their doors and saying, don't you dare, take every one of us.
I'm in San Joaquin County. Yep. If you have a store in San Joaquin County and you want to open up, you reach out to us and we'll make it happen to where we're going to be there and we're going to bear witness to what's going on. I mean, I had this woman on my thread say, you guys all want to go back to work. You guys want to put everybody in danger. Why don't you become one of the essential workers that they're allowing to work? So what she's saying is, and I had ordered pizza. My pizza delivery guy was a Tesla worker making $35 an hour. Now he's doing DoorDash. So instead of going back to work, I mean, we're all adults. We don't need to have a nanny state telling us when we can go to work and when we can't. If you're healthy, if you're not sick, you're good to go, you should be able to go to work. Instead, the mindset of these people, forget your $40 an hour job. Go work at McDonald's or Walmart because it's essential, and go get your $10 an hour. You're not going to be able to qualify for unemployment now, and you won't be able to qualify for welfare, and you won't be able to qualify for Medi-Cal because now you're getting paid for it. So now they want you to make $10 an hour without any insurance, anything whatsoever, because that is what's deemed essential. It's a load of crap. People need to get back to work. We need to put food on our family's table. I'm over here scared that if Primo doesn't have a job next week, we're screwed. I mean, he's in construction, so it can go at any time. I mean, if you don't get paid for 1 week, it really sets you back a whole month. And it's going to be incredibly hard to recover from this. I hope these people get back to work May 1st. Open your doors.
And Newsom, you're criminalizing people gathering, but they are going to be, you keep pushing, they're going to be marching in the tens of thousands, in the hundreds of thousands, and in the millions to your door. They are going to be marching to the Capitol, into every county office, because you're going to give them no damn choice. And we're not going to accept your conditions of, mandated testing and mandated contact tracing and new floor plans and all this easing and restricting bullshit. The numbers have been bullshit. You guys have not focused on effective solutions for therapeutics. You have not done the least restrictive means to help contain the virus. You have not done the most helpful things to help heal and recover and prevent infection and heal quick recovery from it. And you have literally paralyzed the nation. Every governor and health department officer who is supporting this and law enforcement who are supporting it, you have paralyzed the nation, and the challenges are going to be on your backs. We're going to challenge you everywhere on this, and you're the ones that are going to be named. You're the ones that are going to be named. So you decide what side of history you're going to be on, because we're not going to let you do this easily or silently. We will not. People are dying alone, isolated from their loved ones who are in nursing homes. They're navigating the most difficult times of their lives in hospitals alone. They don't all have a standard best practice for everyone to be treated no matter what their conditions are and what virus they're fighting right now. And you have criminalized people's constitutional rights right now with your extended and unlawful emergency orders. And I'm just one. We are just 3 of tens of millions of people who feel this way. And we are done. May 1 and done. And we will support anyone who's going back to work in their businesses in any way we know how.
This is it. Like I said, this is a showdown, and the people will win. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, we're 4 women who brought thousands, because those thousands are done. Could you imagine if he says July? No way. May 1st, open your doors. We will support you if you open your doors. The economy needs to get back up. People need to go back to work. And I am for sure not okay with this new framework of allowing children to go back to school as long as they wear masks and have their temperatures taken. It's
No.
not happening.
Nope.
My son has asthma. He has upper respiratory issues. That mask will cause so much more harm than good. It's not going to happen. Not sending my kid back. And thus a lot of people aren't going to be sending their kids back, which means they're going to be pulling funding from the state.
Hey guys, guess what? Stephanie just joined. Stephanie just got on.
Yay!
I think
Oh,
oh, here she is.
Stephanie.
Let's let Stephanie go. She only has a few minutes, so she
Okay,
wants
Stephanie,
to
go.
jump in. Oh,
Are you there, Steph?
can you get
it's
on?
connected. You got to be louder, Stephanie.
Yeah, there for a second. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Yes.
Hi.
Hey, miss you
How-
already.
I miss you
So
already.
good to
Happy
all be
birthday,
together
Cara.
yesterday.
What's that?
Oh, thank you. Today's my birthday.
Happy
52.
birthday.
Mhm.
Woohoo. So what are y'all talking about?
We were so much,
We're just
Stephanie.
telling Newsom he was done.
Yeah,
What?
messages straight to Newsom. So go ahead, let Newsom have it. Or we also brought up your friends in the newspaper who wrote scathing, ridiculous articles. So we also called out mainstream media today too.
Do you want to talk about? We left that for you to kind of
They
talk
tried
about
to
if you want to.
paint me as like- Well, let's talk about Gavin Newsom first. And I
All
don't
right,
know
love it.
how much you guys have talked about the permit issue.
Only a tiny bit. Let's go for it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Steph, we can't hear you.
But I don't hear him either. Can
We
you hear
can
me
hear
now?
you.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes, go.
Yeah.
Okay. So KOVR CBS 13. It's a news station in Sacramento at 5:27 today. They issued a statement from the California Highway Patrol Capital Permits Office. It's their new policy going forward. CHP denying all permits for events at state facilities, including state capitol during coronavirus outbreak.
Steph?
In the interest of this, yeah, can you hear me?
Okay. It broke up. I heard the first part.
Okay, so this is their statement. In the interest of public safety and the health of all Californians during the COVID-19 pandemic, effective immediately, the California Highway Patrol will deny any permit requests for events or activities at all state facilities, to include the state capitol, until public health officials have determined it is safe to gather again. So it goes on to talk about our event and saying that it was permitted, but it says the governor said he thought it was allowed based on protesters staying in their cars. Now, if you go to my page, and I tagged all three of you, the screen grab I have of the permit I was issued on behalf of Freedom Angels clearly says gathering on the west steps. So either Gavin Newsom is full of it, or what did he think? We were going to drive our cars onto the west steps?
And doesn't he know that it's the Sacramento Police Department that deals with cars on the public streets? That even the sidewalk of the Capitol is under the Sacramento Police Department's authority? The sidewalk is under their authority. It's the grounds. You only apply for a permit at the Capitol because it's on the Capitol grounds.
That's right.
I mean, that is such a lie. Straight up lie, folks. Everybody knows this. This is not some hidden information, hoping that you don't know it.
So I changed the headline for KOVR 13. I said, California Highway Patrol intends to violate their oath of office to protect and uphold the Constitution by denying U.S. citizens their right to free speech and peaceable assembly. So their new policy, if we go on May 1st, they're going to cite and arrest anyone gathering on the grounds. Not if we go, when we go.
Yeah, cite and arrest.
Cite and arrest.
There you go. The showdown is on. They're ready to arrest millions of people, I guess, around the state.
I mean, what the heck is going on? Did you guys see the map? I think I sent it to you, talking about how all the states plan to open up. Are you able to share that on the screen or no?
I can't right now but we can add a link to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, New York State.
Yeah, tell them about it.
New York State is opening in April. They're reopening. New York State has 15,000 deaths, and they're reopening in April. We have, I think, last count, under 1,200, and we have no end in sight. 3 states in the United States have no end in sight: Oregon, California, and West Virginia. Everyone else will be opened up in May, with the exception of one state. I can't remember what state is going to open up in June. So what's really going on in California? Is this about a virus, or is this about control?
Yeah, it's about Newsom's 6 steps that he wants to implement, which we absolutely will not accept. We do not accept your unconstitutional conditions to reopen, Gavin Newsom, which includes mandatory tracking and mandatory contact tracing, and also the redrawing of floor plans for every work and school, etc., private, public, big or small, all those pieces. Won't accept them.
So guys, I have to read some comments that just came on that are so good about this. Guess that's why they let inmates out of prison, because that's what they've done in California. All the inmates have been kicked out so that they have room for all of us who come to exercise our First Amendment rights. They are sick as you know what. I can't stand it anymore. Expletive to Newsom. Then Brilliant Carol just says, oh, so is this how California is expecting to raise funds, by arresting all of its citizens, since there's no taxpayer base anymore because we've all lost our jobs and we don't have any income for the state. So now we're going to arrest you and generate fees through the legal system? Is that what's going to happen?
But don't forget, there's zero bail now, unless they don't have people who have abused their children right now, don't get, they can get just booted right out, no bail. They get, arrested, cited, and released. But are they going to do that for protesters, or are protesters going to actually go in jail? Moms, dads, grandparents going in jail because they're exercising their First Amendment right to peacefully assembly, but also to take back and demand their lives. It's time to, reclaim our lives. There needs to be a rebalancing and a reckoning on this.
Right.
They don't get to decide when they've gone outside of the narrow, what should be, the proof of a compelling state interest and narrow application of emergency orders that are going to be constitutionally challenged. We're going to have to just fight them on it.
Absolutely. I don't know. I'm looking right now, you guys, for an article or some kind of news, but somebody commented on my post a couple minutes ago. They said the Department of Justice just announced they'll back citizens' lawsuits against state government overstepping constitutional freedoms.
Yes, Attorney General Barr, we were going to talk about that.
Okay.
This is the perfect time.
Talk about it.
We all need to, well, for one, let's all get sending in. I think we all have a pocket full of grievances here. People do need to start sending stuff in to the DOJ, Department of Justice, and let them get a feel for what is the temperature going on everywhere. Like, so they can see that they're backed by America. And then, but let's talk about AG Barr. Denise, you wanted to bring that up.
Sorry, my mic and my volume, they're not working. It's really hard for me to hear you guys. Did you say AG Barr?
Yes.
Yeah, because Steph just read about how the DOJ is going to back, protesters' rights here on this.
Right. The headline is AG Barr says considering legal action against governors who continue to impose stringent rules to deal with the pandemic. I mean, this is huge. This is huge for them to be pushing back, because they know what states are the tyrant states. They know it's California. They know it's New York. They know it's New Jersey. It's important that we, like Stephanie said, we have to start sending in our grievances. They have to start knowing what actions that these governors are doing to the state. They have to know what Governor Newsom is doing. The arrests that are happening, that will be happening in California, I mean, they have to be challenged. This is it for us. Like I said, it's a showdown. So I'm glad to see that the Attorney General is backing these legal actions. I think it's much needed, and it's a little cloud of hope that we have here.
Here's a quote from AG Barr. He says, we're looking carefully at a number of these rules that are being put into place. And if we think one goes too far, we initially try to jawbone the governors into rolling them back or adjusting them. And if they're not, and people bring lawsuits, we file statements of interest and side with the plaintiffs. Woo!
That's amazing.
That's right.
Huge. That's huge.
Exactly
Huge.
right. And every time we gather, we are calling out to AG Barr, Department of Justice, to President Trump, and anyone else to stand inside with us to protect the Constitution and our constitutional rights and open the damn country up again. We're going to do it anyway. We're going to do it on our own.
That's what our upside
flag
down
let's
is.
talk. I want to say something about that. Yesterday, and I've seen this in other spots, but yesterday, I can't tell you how, like, I wanted to cry so multiple times when I saw veterans, old men that had American flags upside down. I saw cars with them stuck upside down, and they knew exactly. I turned to one and I said, nation in distress. He says, it's exactly right. That's why I have it upside down. And I mean, we've gotten a lot of heat over that flag upside down. But it's literally what the whole world is experiencing right now. It's a nation and a world in distress, and human and constitutional rights are being violated beyond honestly our ability to even conceive the reality we're in right now.
Yeah. Hey, you guys, I'm gonna jump off, but I love you and I miss you and I'm excited to see you soon. I have a call coming in right now with a constitutional law attorney, so it's on.
Oh
Yes, it is on.
Stephanie, I love you.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Okay,
So,
bye.
Heidi, what time are we at?
Oh yeah, we should wrap this.
Yeah.
We should wrap this up, but make sure Proton Mail.
Yeah,
tell them about
before we end, I do want to tell you guys a few things. So Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg are all saying that they're going to be taking down pages and groups of any kinds of gatherings that are against orders. So if you guys want to be included in our calls to action, we're going to kind of start transitioning off of social media, but we need your emails. So please send us an email at freedomangels@protonmail.com and put your county in the subject line. This Heidi is your
county and state.
county. And Heidi's the one who's going, who does this. So it's a lot easier for her to get through this. We need to start sending out calls to action, but we need your information to do so. So there's ways to get a hold of us. Obviously, Facebook, Freedom Angels page. We also have our Twitter and Instagram handles, which are Freedom Angels Foundation. Instagram is freedom_angels_foundation. But the best way to reach us is at our freedomangels@protonmail.com. Please get a hold of us if you want to be included in our calls to action. Because of our subjects are so controversial, we do get censored. So please share this video and start a watch party. This video will be up on our YouTube channel, which is Freedom Angels, and hopefully it stays up for quite some time. So if there's anything else you guys want to say, we're going to go ahead and sign off because we're way past our 30 minutes.
I want to say how happy I was to see, well, just to be there with everybody, like everybody that came out, all the people that we know and don't know. But I want to just say to the people that we do know and that we got to see you again, it felt so good to see you all, all of, the scores of you, who they are, and to be with our tribe again, and, our friends who help in so many ways. And like Jenna, you're always got our back, and Gabby and Maya and Carol and Lauren and Heather, and just on and on, Aaron and Clyde. I can't even, there's too many to name, but just to see you guys and be with you again was really strengthening and heartening.
Yeah,
Love all of you
guys. May 1st, same time, same place. I don't want to say it because I want to get a flag, but May 1st, we're going to do this again. However, we need bigger numbers this time. I mean, we had 3,000, we need more. So we are really at our end of our time. So we're going to be back tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I can't tell you where, but we'll be live at 5 tomorrow talking about freedom and liberty.
Mayday, Mayday, around the nation.
Yep. All right.
Let's
Bye.
roll.